Yeah, so we're
Yes,
gonna get
sir.
into it. So yeah, y'all, welcome to another episode of the Bro Foundation podcast. Profound conversations with brothers across the nation. We here. Got
Yes, sir.
mindset. The brother Henry P in the building. How y'all living, brothers?
All is well.
Good. Good.
Everything is
Uh,
good, brother.
yeah, man, life is good. I agree. I agree. Shout out to our brother Jesse, man. He couldn't make it with us today. Had to, sometime um, life comes first. You know, and so he's actually at work right now, being the cavalry. You know what I mean, making sure people is safe and like you're saying, you're just like down power lines that they doing some hefty work down there. So shout out to the brother Jesse, man. We hope you stay safe out there. Um,
Sir.
just say get home safely and that way for your family and all that other stuff, man. Like yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You be right here when you get done, brother. Make
yes,
sure you get
sir. We keeps it moving and like I said, we know you're here with us spiritually or not spiritually,
it.
not like that, but just we know your presence is here with us.
All
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like even though you at work, we know you here. Um, you know. But yeah, we just we'll make sure we always got to make sure that we bring the podcast to the people. Bring the episode to the people. I wasn't here last week, and so it's like sometimes life happens, man. Sometimes you know all of us can't be here at one time, but when we can, that's even better. But like I said, we all know we got responsibilities and things come first as of right now. You know what I mean? Until we can get to the point where we can, you know, uh, don't have to worry about in a sense uh, 9 to 5 type job, putting food, rely on that to put food on the table. But until then, we gotta keep it moving and you know, take care of what we gotta take care of, how we gotta take care of it,
That's
regardless.
right.
So yeah, man,
Absolutely.
we go get right into it, man. Like we uh we like to bring different types of conversations here, to the show. Just different things that we feel that are good good topics, something that people need to either recognize, recollect, or just things that people might not have really thought about. Like, what, that's true. You know, but this week we just wanted to talk about the importance of having those difficult conversations. You know, and it just stemmed from about a week or two ago. Me and my brother were talking, and when brother, we can talk for a good minute. We just build. We just talk about everything. And it came up about something that was going on in my nephew's life and his son's life, and we just start. You know, we got on the topic of the importance of having those difficult conversations, and it was like, what, that'd be a great episode for us to have something to talk about because it's highly important to have those difficult conversations, those things that we might not want to say or know how to say it. Um, we got to say it. It has to be said because it's beneficial, and regardless of which way it goes, um, we just know that it's just important to know that having those difficult conversations are good either way. It's only gonna make you a better person, have more understanding about your own life, and also just whatever the situation is at hand. So, yeah, we just wanted to talk about that, man. So, yeah, man, why? I guess I'll ask the question: why do you feel it's important to have those difficult conversations?
I think it sets the tone for just how we connect. um, I mean, you're not always gonna have a point where we always gonna see eye to eye because we're individuals. We think differently, we move differently, think different things affect us in ways that don't necessarily affect, the person next to you. So sometimes you may bump heads or somebody may rub you the wrong way, but you have those conversations just to at least let that person know where you stand. So, y'all two can move forward. You're not always going to be, side to side. It's going to be some give and take here and there. But in the midst of those difficult conversations, you still need to be able to realize what's at hand. You can't just, having a difficult conversation and you just going off and then you start taking it to a point where it's more of a personal level. Because at that point, you're not going to get anything fixed or finished or resolved. It's just going to be more so a battle of who's right or who's wrong, or who has the last word here and there. You need to be able to have that camaraderie where you can sit down, man to man, woman to woman, whatever it may be, express your viewpoint. You have a discussion with the other person about it, and you come to some sort of agreement. Even if you can't come to agreement, you have it in a manner where it's dignified enough where we can agree to disagree, and we can still move forward past this point. A lot of times, I think we don't really give an understanding to the arguments or the conversations that we have. It just becomes a match of who's going to be the one that's going to finally give in. And there's no winning in that. There's no growth in that. If anything, if one of you two, say me and one of you two, get into it, and we get to that point of the pissing match, all it's gonna do is breed resentment. Where the next time there's a situation that comes, we already gonna go to 10. It ain't gonna be kind of stepping, trying to feel each other out and express how we feel or our train of thought and get that crossed. It's gonna go straight to 10, and again, that pissing match is gonna still happen. So in the midst of those difficult conversations, I think that's the first thing foremost. You got to focus on what the problem is, not the individual, and keep it as such and discuss it just as such. That's my take on it.
Whew, man, you hit some triggers there, and I can't even lie to you, man. What you said was crucial though, especially at the end. It's like the second time around when you get to that point of argument, you know what I mean? It's no middle ground, it's no gray area, you know what I mean? Because the last time, because of that hard conversation wasn't able to happen, you went straight to 10. And man, I can testify to that in my personal relationships. And from my take of it, it was always that, like, my short temper, my lack of my nonchalantness would kick in. And when a person feels away, I'm not really addressing it. I'm not really adhering to what this person is saying. I'm kind of like, yeah, it's whatever. And not really giving them the attention in that moment that they really need. But then once I started to entertain those situations, now I'm seeing like, ooh, this different. This conversation hitting a little different. I don't know if I'm ready for it. But then as I'm in it, I'm like, well, you ain't got a choice but to be ready for it and to be in it. So now we on the
Good point. The bear concert is today.
hold on 1 second, fellas. Hold on. What happened?
Yeah.
Next month, I get ready really fast, and
You hear me on that, bro?
Concert as well.
So wait, what's
3:00 today, 6:00.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely understand, that exact feeling because, like you said, it can be difficult if you're I guess if you're not ready to hear what's being told to you, so it's easy to go straight to 10. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we don't, in a sense, want to hear that. If it's going against, I guess, us, us not necessarily personally, but a lot of times people don't like, in a sense, confrontation, so to speak, or just to be told that what they're doing is wrong, or they need to, you know, because like we kind of get set in our ways as people, and we don't want to, you know, it can be tough to change sometimes, you know.
Mhm.
So to quickly go to 10, it's easy to do, you know, it's easier for that to happen. But kind of my take on it is it's a matter of like I feel it's important to, because like we teach people how to treat us, you know. If you are constantly being walked on, like I've seen a lot of times where people will let stuff, you know, slide, and you know, be told to be told this and be told that, and to continuously not not to speak on what they feel is wrong. Like people will continue to be wronged and wronged and wronged, and then it just creates a, you know, a big pit in their stomach, and then they blow up on people, you know. But it's like doing that, that's part of the problem, Tor. That's why you have to have that difficult conversation, because the more you don't, the more it's going to tear you up inside. And then once you finally do speak on it, people are one, gonna not either respect it, two, gonna you know, think like you're speaking at a turn, or feel like you're the wrong one because you haven't said anything about it. You know, they can easily turn that around on you. But it's like if you have that difficult conversation, speak up on things when you know you should speak up on them, people will be like, okay, I can't just treat this person any kind of way. I got to make sure that I'm treating this person with respect. Because who wants to take it to that? Who wants to get to that point where you feel like you have to blow up on somebody? Like you blow your top. Like we've all done that. You know what I'm saying? Blowing our top, like having neglected to say something, like, man, you know, I want to say something, but you know what? I'm just gonna keep my cool. I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm not gonna let it bother me. The more you continue to not let something bother you, and then like I said, it's just gonna be like a powder keg, and you just explode. And the person that you're in a sense exploding on is gonna be like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" Or, you know, why are you so mad? Well, you've been upset about it, but you just failed to, in a sense, assert yourself and say, "Hey, look, I don't like this. This has to change. You know, you can't keep treat me like this, or you know what I mean? Like I don't like how you talk to me, or how you walk over me, you know, because that's what happens." So I think it's important to have those talks. That way, it doesn't get to a point where you have to blow up and you have to just let it all out, and then because that's when the floodgates start opening, and then things that happened long time ago will come out. It's like, whoa, why are you bringing up that stuff now? You should have said something a long time. Well, it took that one, you know, that one straw that broke that camel's back for me to get it out, unfortunately. And then hopefully if that person can receive it, they'll understand, like, man, I don't want this person to get to this to level 10 again. So let me make sure that I'm properly addressing this person, or making sure that I'm not disrespecting this person again. Or they could easily take it the other way and say, and be, in a sense, in their feelings, and that kind of can ruin the relationship. Either way, you know, like I said, you just don't want to get to that point of no return, so to speak. So it's just highly important, because it's good for both parties, or all parties involved. It just makes sure it assures that the tone is set. It assures that people how you need to be talked to, understand how you need to be handled, so to speak. Not even just talked to, but how you need to be handled. Um, so I feel like that's one of the most important things.
Man, for real, for real. And I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all patience, man, the inconvenience with having people around you when you're trying to have a conversation. Sometimes You get to catching all the background noise, all the questions. But man, what I was getting to is just, what Henry said and what you said now, like it's important at the end of the day. It's needed to be had when it comes down to them conversations. I just know in a few of mine, or at least in the most recent ones that I've had, within the argument, within the frustration, I noticed that a lot of what I was arguing was self. I'm arguing with the person, but a lot of what they're doing is either things that I used to have an issue with personally, or it's a new situation that they presented to me that I don't really have like the skills to handle, because I've never been through this situation. So it's like now that I'm here and I'm realizing that's the situation, I'm really battling myself. Like, although there's an entity in front of me, the things that they're doing is still a self situation. So once I started to remove my emotions out of the reaction that I was given to make it go to 10, to then not really be having those understandings the way that I needed, I was able to just listen to each person's point. And again, this is where effective communication coming in, and like I'm listening to understand rather than listening to respond. So within the issue at hand, I learned how to understand it and change it, because again, I realized I was arguing myself. So now, not only do you need to have those hard conversations with somebody else, because out of the spite of the conversation and out of the heat of the moment, you probably said some things wrong or took things wrong, whatever the case may be, you need to own up to that. Now the man in the mirror that you're talking to, you got to have some questions with him. In that perspective, for me, it's like, damn, sometimes some conversations that you have and you don't really realize who it's for. Like you don't know what you're going to get from this conversation or that conversation and how it's going to apply to your life. But as I went through it, I'm just like, man, if you don't talk to yourself, you don't talk to somebody about these things that you're dealing with, it's gonna make it that much harder. Now you're gonna be holding on to it. Like Todd said, you're gonna be holding on to something in the next situation. And now it's like you don't even know why you're mad. But again, for me, it's like I'm in these situations not knowing why I'm reacting this way, why what they saying ain't rubbing me, it is rubbing me wrong and not rubbing me right. And I'm just looking at the situation after it's over with, and I'm like analyzing what I said, what I could have said, what they said. I'm just like, okay, I see how I play a part. But why was this in this situation, in this situation, all gave me the same response? And again, after I realized those situations, I had to look at myself and look at what Corey was doing. You know what I mean? So, and that's just part of being human. No one's perfect. You, through this life and journey, you learning as you go and you growing as you go through it. So to have those conversations, man, I've been there. So tell me, tell me it ain't important. I'm gonna tell you pigs can fly. For real. For real, for real.
It's very much important. You I think what winds up making a lot of these conversations difficult is we suppress a lot to quote unquote keep the peace. Well, when you don't express, how you feeling to the person, they're peaceful as hell because everything is going their way. You the one that's buttoning up everything, and you just piling it and packing it and packing it. So when there are things when you find start blowing up, as you said just now, Corey, you're going straight to 10 every time. And it's not that one thing that did it. It's the conversations that hadn't been had over at this point. You have not expressed your point of view to this person. So therefore, you're gonna blow up every time. And of course, by the time you go to 10, they're going to 10 as well because they don't know where it's coming from. And most time enough, if you get to the point where you can have these conversations, go through the first one or two of them like that, and this is for relationships, your partner as well as your friends or whatever out there, they know where you're coming from. You established this now. So instead of what's going to happen the first time or two when you have a hard conversation like that, we all gonna feel attacked. we all gonna get defensive. But once you go through that and then you realize, well, it's not an attack on you per se, the person, it's an attack on the situation. This is a conversation to resolve it so we don't find ourselves at this point again. Then, from that point on, you kind of respect the person, because as you start having them more and more here and there, you understand that that's where it's coming from. Just, this is what I'm feeling, I'm expressing to you, let's have a conversation about it. And we go past that point. And once you start to have those, you can build even stronger relationship out of it. Because in all honesty, you get to a point where you know exactly how to have this conversation with somebody. Like, theoretically, once we've got to that point, you could tell me I'm the dumbest thing to hit the earth. But it's a matter of how you tell me is, my reaction. And with that, that's not, an attack directly on me. It's on this situation. Let's get this resolved. And that, okay, there's all kind of growth. Like, excuse me, with things like, say, me and my wife have talked about, and we've gotten into things, those type of conversations. At first, very much so, felt like an attack from both parties. But we found through having those conversations, instead of just completely blowing up and go our separate ways, we kind of sit and talk through it. And now we found a whole different level playing field that when it's time to have those, I know that is coming from the heart. It's not coming from anger, even if the situation angered her. It's more or less just her having a conversation with me, kind of, as you said, showing me how to deal with her. And then, in retrospect, the same thing. When I bring something up to her, it's showing her of how to deal with me. Things that I feel that strongly enough about that we need to have a conversation. Okay, well, let's talk about it. If it's homeboys out in the street, the same thing. Now, in that, I make sure that the conversation that we have, I still respect, and again, not my wife at this point. This is friends out in the street. I try to give them that exact same respect that's due to them. I'm not going to talk down to you, Tyrus, or you, Corey, and belittle you less than a man. I'm going to come to you as such. And we have this conversation. There's not anything ugly. It's just man to man. We can have a conversation. We can see each other eye to eye, and we can have a conversation and move past this point. And it does not necessarily anything that's for everybody else to see, because it's not necessarily that I have a problem with everybody else. It's a problem with this particular situation that's between you and I. And once we resolve that, we can move forward. That's nobody else's business. Us as men, we've already solved that. It doesn't need to go any further than that. But I think sometimes too, we have where people just have to have this grandiose thing where they have to put it out there in the open, which comes back to that whole feeling attack thing, which there's nothing that gets resolved from that, because now you're back in defensive mode, and now it's a matter of self-protection. No matter what you got to say, I don't care if I was wrong. You ain't about to handle me like this. There's no growth in that. There's only more chaos.
Yeah, big facts. Like, so my question, I guess, another question I wanted to pose is, like, how do you feel you are when it comes to, I guess you say, approaching those difficult conversations? Like, are you good at bringing it up? Are you a person that kind of will let things go until it's almost the last straw? Or do you feel like you're good at bringing up when it's time to have those difficult conversations?
Hey, mute it. Mute it.
Oh, I'm looking like, dang, I can't hear y'all for nothing. But I know when it comes to approach, I'm probably a little bit more hesitant to approach a situation that is tricky, because, like you said, Henry, I know I'm probably thinking I'm protecting your feelings. I'm protecting what I think they're gonna make you feel. And again, that's taking away the opportunity to give that person that credit to handle it, or just giving yourself that grace of like, hey, I got something on my mind. This is how something made me feel. Let me talk to you about it. Instead of holding it in, I'll be like, it's all good, wipe it off. Don't really let it bother me, which I internally don't. It won't sit nowhere, like mentally. But then again, because of just some of the things that I've been working on, noticing once a situation similar now happens, I may feel a little bit away because now it resembles something that just happened. And again, that's not healthy for either person. So for me, it's like if I know that would be a struggle for me, and that's something that I may double think, like, you know what, let me save their feelings by not keeping it real or being honest. But I know I feel like, hey, if I would have talked about it first, it would probably have made it better. I gotta not give that to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I gotta allow them to feel like when they need to say something, they can. That playing field is there for you to set. Like I'm not gonna approach this in a way that makes you feel attacked, like I'm like you said, belittling you, or just put you in a position where you feel like your back is against the wall, because we have to effectively communicate, as well as we both need to be comprehending what this person is saying while we communicate. So it's only right that I give you what I want in return. And because I rather give it first, well, let me lead by example. Let me set the standards. Let me set the tone. Let me give this person what I want in return. So in hindsight, I'm now showing them how to handle me. So I think that's just as important though. The approach is, is going to set the tone. If you do approach a person that's very sensitive or very aggressive when they feel away, you gonna feel away too in return to that. So it's like, make sure that you understand how a person receives information and then give them that. You know what I mean? But that's learning. And again, with your homies, you can't talk to your homies like you can talk to your girl. It's just a different playing field. Our girls are way more emotional and sensitive. So it's just like, unless y'all have that type of conversation, that type of relationship, by all means, do it the way that works for y'all. But on the other end of that, still be mindful that, hey, this my lady. Oh, this my bro. So I don't know my bro's level of temper. I don't know his emotional, vulnerability. And if I say something to him that's may trigger him, who knows how he'll react? Because again, I never put him in that position, or vice versa. So it's like, once you learn the person on how to approach them, that'll help you now, with other people in situations, because again, you're learning like not everything works for everybody. Learn each person individually, and you'll then be able to, okay, I can see why you felt that way, and let me approach this differently. But that's me.
What about you, Hen?
So I was saying, you teach people how to handle you, how to deal with. And if you don't, speak up for yourself to start with, and that just sets the tone from then on. Because at that point, they know how you think, how you move, so to speak, and you kind of help them along with it. But you have to start somewhere, and it doesn't need to wait until it's a massive load where you just explode at every little thing. Because again, at that point, that person's gonna feel attacked, and there's nothing gonna be gained from it. There's nothing, no good that's gonna come out of that, because it's just gonna become a yelling match. So, at the very least, I mean, like I said, you got to be able to have the conversation, but have it intelligently, so as you still showing that person respect, but this is a problem, and how do we move past this point? How do we move through it?
But do you feel like you're good at doing that, or do you feel like you might, in a sense?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, do you feel like you're good at it, or you feel like sometimes you might just let it ride until it's like, okay, you know what, we got to discuss this now, that kind of thing.
Being married now, I think it really depends upon the situation. Now, any way that I feel that, if there's something that I don't like the way it went to bring about one of these conversations, it really depends upon the severity or the situation and the timing. Because everything doesn't need to be addressed at that particular moment.
That part right there.
Now it can very well be, something like, we're gonna talk about this later. But that whole thing where you have to showboat and get into an in-depth conversation like that out in public, because again, once you go to that level, the person that you have this conversation with, it ain't a matter of receiving this and we're gonna resolve it. They feel attacked, they feel embarrassed. So there's no good gonna come out of that. Now, on the other side of that, yeah, there are some conversations that need to happen at that particular moment. But as you live and grow, you realize you ain't got to necessarily attend every argument that you been invited to at that particular time. You can show up a little late sometimes, but then there's signs like, we need to go talk for a second, and we can go off and have that conversation. We can come back. But the main thing in that is you still have to understand that this is a human being with human feelings that you're having this conversation with. And it's going to come off to them at first as them being attacked. So they're going to want to be defensive about it. So it's just, picking your words and conveying your emotions and your feelings in the right manner to, get them to understand exactly where you're coming from and the best way of resolving whatever the issue is. So now, with all that being said, yeah, I think at this point, I do. If there's something that really bothers me, because I ain't carrying this around. I don't necessarily, mean it's going to be, it has to happen right at that moment. But whatever the issues is, we can set a point in time to come, have that conversation. It could be something that's bothering me heavily for us to talk about, and she might have had a hard day at work. I'm going to take it to a wife, because most time, I guess when I have those difficult conversations, that's who it is with. But she could have had a difficult day, and right there is not the time to get anything productive done. So it very much like, what, I want to talk to you about something else later on. Let you go ahead and have your time, get your mind right or whatever you got to do. I just want to talk to you. And in that, it's still a plan to get whatever it is resolved. And it's going to come up. It's just, I understand right now is not the time. Because the only thing you're doing is you just stacking on top of, and the whole thing you did of suppressing to keep the peace. And it just built up. Only thing is when you come to have that and they already got something going on, you doing the exact same thing. You piling on. So, of course, when you had that conversation, it's going to blow up the exact same way you would have blown up. So,
before I cut you off, just so I can answer your question directly, just because as Henry was talking, at first, I would shy away from it first. Like, it took me a while to approach the situation. And then I got better at it at this one key point, which changes that perspective. And then I'm going to let you go. When I stopped feeling like it was me versus the person, rather than me and the problem versus the person, when I had that switch in perspective, that's when I got better at it. And that's when I was then able to approach the situation first before, like Henry, you just said, holding it back. But I just wanted to share that with y'all.
No, I feel it. I definitely feel that. And see, and what I wanted to say real quick too is this matter of like when somebody tells me like, you know what, we got something to talk about when you get a chance or whatever. It's like, no, I'm my type of personality. Okay, no, let's talk about it right now.
Yep.
I'm not one that can like I say if whoever I'm talking to, it's in my life or whatever, hits me with a text message on some, we gotta talk when you get a chance or whatever. I don't care if I'm at work and I'm heavy in work. What's up? Because I don't like having that weight in the back. You know what I mean? I don't like having that angst in a sense of something waiting to. I want to know. I want to know right now. That way I want to handle it right. I want to deal with it head on. You got something you want to talk to me about? What you want to talk about? Let's talk about it. You know, that might not be the best approach, and I don't want, you know, I don't. It's not that I want to, that I want confrontation. It's just a matter of, I don't like that I guess you would say that's could be the control freak in me, but I don't like that area of the unknown. Like, what's so heavy on your mind that you had to? Anytime a woman stops and says, "We need to talk," yeah, that's something you've been thinking about something. You know what I mean? Something's really on your mind. So it's like, I'm willing to put down everything. Hey, what's going on? You know, I mean, let's talk about it. You know, because I can't deal with that. That's a lot of anxiousness. There's a lot of nerves that it's hard to deal with. You know, so it's like, if I get told, I got to talk to you about something when you get home. Boop, 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 boop. Hold on. Let's talk. But the bad part about it is that they might need that time to properly, you know, put it together, or they might need that time to like I said, properly get together what they want to say themselves. So it's like, that's not necessarily the best way to go about it. But my anxiety, so to speak, I want to know right now, But it's like, they might need that time to process it and fully be able to tell you what they want you to know the correct way. So that's not necessarily the best way to go about it either. But just kind of getting back to it, I guess you guys have kind of both hit it on the head when it comes to my approach. I look at it like, is this something that I can fully, like, if it's something bothering me or whatever, do I need to bring it up, or is this something that I can drop and it not ever be an issue again? Like, is it really, like you said, I think you said it, Henry, like, everything doesn't need to be brought up. Like, you don't need to bring up everything. Doesn't need to you don't need to have a discussion about everything. So it's like, if this is this something that is going to weigh that heavily on my brain, that it's just going to eat it, it's just going to get to me? Or is it something minuscule that I can say, you know what, it's really not a big deal, and I won't even bring it up at a later time either. You know what I mean? Just because, like, if I completely forgot, if I wanted to forget about it right now and not speak on it, then I'm not gonna, 2 weeks down the road or a month down the road say, remember that time when something. Nah, because that's not fair. You know what I mean? That's not fair. But if it's something that I feel like needs to be brought up, well, I definitely will. It's like, okay, we got to have a talk about this, because this is something that it can't, and even if something is recognized, that my energy might have shifted, and something was recognized that I feel a certain way because I might not have said something, but then if my energy is recognized, that yeah, I will speak on it, because.
But you was processing it then.
I was processing it then, but I wasn't able to just fully outright speak on it right then. But if like I said, if you recognize my energy shift, or you see that it's bothering me, then yeah, okay, let's go ahead and hash it out right now. Let's go ahead and talk about it right now, because yeah, it did bother me. So yeah, there's definitely variables when it comes to that. Another question I have, with us being in the time of, text messages is, everybody text messages. People text more than talk nowadays. A lot of people barely talk anymore. But we live in a time of text messaging. Do you think that that's a help or a hindrance when it comes to having those difficult conversations?
I think we all can agree, man, that texting is hella convenient, because they even got it to the point you can voice text. If you got Apple, you can Siri, or you can Google and tell her, him, whomever to say what you want just by your voice. You know what I mean? So I feel like convenience is there, but when we talking
a little audio clip.
Oh, but yeah, the little audio clips, like, hey, I got some on my chest. Let me send it audio. That means I get off my chest, that's it. However, if I'm going based off of communication, text messaging has failed us. I bet you, and I think we all at our age we can appreciate. Let's go back to the times where text messages costed money. A lot of these younger kids don't remember that.
Right.
Let's go back. Let's go back to when it cost to text. Now let's see how much you can say what you had to say on your chest. Because again, my perspective, the best form of communication is face to face. Secondly, and I say face to face only because, well, two reasons. One, my tone, you can hear it and feel it. And then my body language, you can see it and feel it. When you can't do that, the second best thing is then over the phone. So, with that being said, if them the top two, we're just text messaging line. So for me, it's hindering them, man. And I could go on. I'm gonna let y'all go, but yes, it's definitely hindering us. It is not a help, not in communication effectively, for real.
Absolutely. Since you took a trip down memory lane, I remember the first cell phone I bought. The lady was telling me and showing me how to text. And I thought that was the stupidest thing. Why would I waste time hitting buttons? And this wasn't like a full keyboard. This was 111333.
Nine text.
Spell out a word. Yeah, back then. Why would I waste my time doing that? But fast forward X amount of years, and that's the prevalent way of communicating. But if it's something of a serious notion, don't text me that. Like, no. I dated somebody back during that time, and we had gotten into things and would sit and text out a message. And that was before you had almost unlimited characters. Like, you only had 150 letters that you could put in there before it wasn't taking no more. So what you sending me might already send me over the edge, but for me to have to sit and read, that's a whole different level of ticked off. So at that point in time in my life, I'm not reading that. And I even as I say that, I show more grace with my wife, because obviously that's a totally different tier. But otherwise, I'm not reading that. Because if it's something that touched you that much, where you felt that we need to have a conversation about it, no. I ain't gonna say we men, because it could be with. I guess I wouldn't have no conversation like that with another woman. In my homeboys or whatever, we grown men. You got my number. If you got a problem, call me. Don't send me no message, because I'm not gonna read that. Right. Honestly, our relationship probably going to diminish somewhat, because you took that easy route of sending a message and just threw it out there. And I'm supposed to read that and just, understand your level, where you coming from with it. If it's something that struck you that badly that I did, talk to me. We can work through this. But just to, sit and go through it, texting, mindless texting, and that level of emotion. No, that's how I really don't believe that's what that was meant for.
No,
I agree. I think it plays its role, but I think it can. I don't want to say set the tone. I think it can help open a person up to the conversation. There are things you can speak on kind of what you want to a degree in a text message, and then boom, okay, let's get on a phone call and talk about it. Because sometimes people have a hard time actually getting out what they want to say when they're on, like directly on a phone or in person with somebody. In person is definitely, good. It depends on the situation, though. I'll say that, just because if it's a situation where sometimes you can in a sense soften up what you really want to say and not say as much as you really want to say when you're in the space of somebody when you're face to face, because you don't want to hurt their, not that you're going to hurt their feelings in a sense, but just a matter of, you might not, it's just like with a like you gotta tell yourself, oh, you gotta be ice cold, be ice cold, you know what I mean? Like, you still want to be able to say what you want to say without the energy of that person. Because say if you are in a situation where it's like, okay, for instance, it's like having that conversation on the way out of a relationship, so to speak, and you decide to see each other face to face. That could easily go left, and you might not, when it probably should have ended or whatever, but you end up being sold, or vice versa, on why it shouldn't, and because you feel that person's energy right in front of you, it can go in a whole nother direction. So that's why it's tough in a sense. Sometimes it's like, no, we just need to have a phone conversation. That way, I don't get, because I've been there. I'm sure we've all been there to where, can we just get together and talk about it? It's like, I don't know if that's, because you're gonna make me weak, and then I'm gonna be, I'm gonna fall victim. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been there, and so it's one of those things where you gotta, say, we should just talk. We should talk about this, because you just don't want to be, that kryptonite. You know what I'm saying? That kryptonite comes, and it can be easy, but I think a text message sometimes can open up the airways, so to speak, to where you have that initial conversation through text message, and then you have that talk on the phone or whatever. Like I said, some people have a hard time getting stuff off their chest just in a direct conversation, but in a text message, they can kind of speak what they have to speak without, in a sense, being interrupted, without feeling like they're rushed, without feeling like, they have to pull back on what they want to say. They can just kind of get it off, and then you can have a conversation based around that text message to make sure that you hit every point that was talked about and you don't miss anything. So I think it's definitely not the best route to go, especially like you said, when it's a serious conversation. I think you definitely should have that talk, but at the same time, it's just one of those things that you got to be careful of putting too much emotion into the text messages, because it could be taken any wrong way, and then say if you didn't mean it, or that person didn't mean exactly the way that you received it, then that's a whole nother conversation in and of itself. So it's just a matter of making sure that if you decide to go with that text message, that you, in a sense, hit the points that you want to hit, and then if you need to have a conversation about those text messages, then have that conversation. But yeah, so I think it serves its purpose, but it definitely shouldn't be the main source of communication when it comes to the serious stuff, especially.
Yeah,
That's real. So let me ask y'all this, like, because I agree with both sides and then I disagree in the same breath. But it got me thinking, like, a lot of what we go through as Black men, typically, when we have a disagreement, a lot of times, if it ain't like in our household with our ladies, it's usually, with another brother that looks like us. And then outside of that, which is part of, where I'm going with it, it's like, what about in the corporate world? What about when they don't look like us? Are we still hesitant to now approach this conversation the same way? Or are we like, you know what? I don't give I don't give a who it is, because it ain't one of us. I'm gonna be cautious to talk to my brother a certain way. I'm gonna be cautious to talk to my sisters a certain type of way, you know. But what about when it's somebody else? Not gonna speak on who, but just in general. Like we don't even have to put it on one race. But and I say that because I caught myself realizing like, oh, if my brother in the club bumped me, I don't know him, he bumped me, step in my shoes. Oh, it's all good, bro. But let another person be drunk walking on the street and then they bump me because of they, maybe they intoxicated. I'm not so gracious. And I noticed for me that, yeah, there may be this propaganda and this agenda that blacks kill blacks, but I know a lot of frustration within me, just to be all the way honest. It ain't always with my brothers and sisters. So I'm just wondering, in y'all situations, or if y'all ever been in one, do y'all feel like approaching other races with situations that you may have in the corporate world, in public, in private, just, in different situations, are y'all so quick to speak on these situations with them? Or is it still like, nah, I'm gonna just let it go?
Nah, I definitely will speak on it, man. Like I feel like, and I know exactly. But before we get into that, what part of it? What part do you disagree with? Like, where's your? You said you disagree with a part of what you know.
Well, just no, it was just really like, well, for instance, I guess maybe not even disagree. It's more like when you said sometimes you can't have those conversations, them tough ones in person. Because again, if the tension is hot, you never know. Or it don't even got to be bad tension. It could be good tension. And then that could lead to something else, meaning that you may not should be in that situation. So I agree with that. But I guess with again, because of how I am, sometimes I feel like I can't have this conversation no other way effectively other than in person, just because it's already been issues, it's already been tension. So, like you just said, if I send a text message, you may not receive that right. So now, because of where it is, and again, that's why I say I agree and disagree. Now that if it is tension, I got to be able to compose myself and I'll convey that message to you. Again, it could be over the phone, but I prefer it to be in person. So, you know what I mean? It's one of them kind of situations.
I got you. But yeah, I think, like I said, when it comes to us, I think it's almost on the reverse to where, like, when it comes to, say, if it's somebody that, like you said, it looks like us, we have a tendency of, being more, I guess you say, confrontational,
Yeah.
as opposed to when it's somebody that don't look like us, we a little more, accepting or willing to, oh no, it's all good, it's okay. But I do what I can to be across the board. You know what I mean? Like, so if I have an issue with somebody at work, or like I'm definitely going to go, regardless of what it looks like. Like I'm going, hey, I don't appreciate that, man. Regardless, I mean, I can remember situations when, especially when I was at a particular phone company that I used to work for. Um, customers would get stupid with me, try to get stupid with me all the time. I'm like, look, man, you're not going to talk to me like that. You're not going to disrespect me like that. I don't care. Like they would try to, oh, this is ridiculous, and just start yelling or talking loud and being disrespectful, and I would assert myself like, man, you're not going to talk to me like that, man. I'm not. I don't care who you think you might be. You know what I mean? I respect you as a respect them as a customer, but as soon as you start being disrespectful to me, I don't gotta take that. I don't care who you are. You know what I'm saying? So you go and you gonna catch this. You gonna get this work. You know what I'm saying? Like you gonna hear my point of view. Like you're not just gonna talk to me any kind of way. I don't give a damn. Yeah, you're a customer. Yeah, that's cool and all, but you're not gonna talk to me crazy, man. Bottom line. So if you get out of hand, like there are ways that sometimes I feel like, look, man, I understand you're upset, and because I've been in situations where I've had to, make sure that, okay, we don't want to lose this customer. Everything there are certain ways, but when you start being disrespectful, I'm not gonna take that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take it. So like I said, if you can be upset at, you know, the whatever service, and I can convey that I understand what you're going through, and but at that point, if you don't understand that, or like I said, if you start being disrespectful, I'm gonna tell you up front, man. Look, I don't. You're not gonna talk to me like that, man. So you can leave. You know.
Yeah, no.
I don't care, man. Like
Oh, that ain't gonna mean nothing.
it don't mean nothing to me, man. Like you can call this person, you can call this man, whatever. I don't care, and I'll tell the same thing to the manager on duty as well. He start getting disrespectful. They start getting disrespectful, talking, you know, maybe call me out my name or something like that. I'm not going for that. So whatever reprimand you got to give me, you got to do that. But I'm not going for that, you know. And like I said, when it comes to speaking, you know, speaking to us, I mean, I've already, you know, done so much knowledge on that stigma that I do what I can to be more graceful when it comes to us, because I know you know, the whole psychology behind it. So I'll in a sense I guess I probably will be more, hey man, you know, it's not cool, man. You know what I mean? Like, look, be easy, bro. You know what I mean?
More
like,
passive.
yeah, a little, and not even necessarily passive, but just a matter of, look, bro, I feel what you're going through, but you ain't
Yeah.
gotta talk like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here to help you out. Or whatever situation may be. You know what I mean? Like let's like him say, let's talk about it like men. You know what I mean? You ain't gotta talk to me crazy, call me on my name and like that, man. Let's just be cool about it. You feel me? Because like I said, I already understand that stigma. I've already done the knowledge to that. So I'm not gonna do what I can to perpetuate that. I'm going, and because in turn, that could probably help him deal with things like that, those situations better in the future.
Exactly.
Because of that you know, that understanding that I have, and that he's probably knowing that, or going into it feeling like, oh, we're gonna have this confrontation. We're gonna have this confrontation. But then if I'm able to be cool about it, and you know, like I said, as I say, cooler heads prevail, then that could probably help him understand, or give him a better way to deal with those situations in the future. So that's why it's like, you know what? Let me be the in a sense the cordial one, or just the one who distinguished, and be cool about it. I'm still expressing to you, like, you know, you ain't got to talk to me like that, man. Like, you know, or whatever. Still expressing how I feel about it, but just allowing myself to not feed into that stereotype of us always being combative with each other, and being, you know, more cautious with other people. So yeah.
For real.
Real. I do everything to try to avoid getting to 10. If the situation arises, regardless of who it is, I try to respectfully, you know, we can talk about this like men. But this conversation ain't gonna go so much further. And that's, you know, that's not, you know, in a threatening manner, or overtly asserting myself, but it's just, you know, bring it down, man. We can meet here, whatever the situation is. We can talk through this, or you go about your business. But you know, it can only go but so far before it goes bad. And at this point in time in life, I got a lot riding on, say if it's in, you know, a work situation, I got a lot riding on what I do during the daytime to feed what I do at night. And to put up with issues with other people, that ain't ever something I signed up for. So, if it's, past work experiences where somebody, got to that level before I realized how to, maintain myself, they start tap dancing on the nerve. I was quick to snap at it. I'm right there with you, but that's not conducive to lengthy employment. So I had to learn, to contain myself and maneuver through that differently. Most time enough, if somebody's getting that irate, if you can remain calm, it's probably going to tick them off a little bit more before it starts to bring them back down. But most time enough, they start realizing they look stupid. I mean, either they gonna calm down or they gonna go up a little higher and they gonna go off about their business because they, you ain't biting. But that's not gonna keep me from asserting myself as, look, we can talk about this, but what you're not about to do is continue talking to me like this. If you want me to respect you as a human being, as a man, show me the same grace. If not, go about your business. And then, if I got to have a conversation with somebody else about, how I handled it, then so be it. Because I'm handling it the best way I can because I'm choosing not to handle it a different way.
That's real. It don't work. Wow. Tell you.
Yeah, like I said, I used to work at one, like I said, one of these major phone companies, and people will come in mad about their service, and even when I worked at the bank, major bank too, people, I want to close my account. You guys are hitting me with fees, and I just don't appreciate. Like when you talking about situations that aren't personal, like you're not attacking me, you're attacking the services that you're receiving or the things that are going on, inside your account or so to speak. I can talk you down, like I can. Hey, you know what, man? I hear you, man. I can definitely understand where you're coming from. But as soon as you start, attacking me personally, it's like that's when the line is drawn. Like, hey, man, what we're not gonna do is this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here to help you. So if you don't want my help, then you're more than welcome to go somewhere else. But I'm here to help you. I remember we used to always say it too, and it would be true. It's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to such and such. Okay, well, we'll see you back. We'll see you back. You'll be back. I'm not ever coming back. Oh, you will. We have the best service. Like our phone service is some of the best service. So like you're gonna go to that one that where your phone bill is, half. You're only paying half. Well, guess what? I'm gonna get half the service too. Like your phone is only gonna work in half the places that it does right now. You know what I'm saying? And so people sure enough try to port out and go to that pink company. You know what I'm saying? And they get there and they be there for 2 weeks, like, oh my God, this service is horrible. I gotta come back. Told you. Told your ass, but you wouldn't try to listen. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, man, it's just important to like we've all said, to show people how, like you show people how to treat you. So if you aren't willing to have those difficult conversations and allow it to get to a point where it festers and boils up and then you explode, that's going about it the long way and the wrong way. But that's really going about it, the roundabout way when you can stop it in its tracks, let it be known up front, and then going forward, if it happens again, then you get that blow up, and it's going to be warranted, and you're gonna catch all the smoke. But you should definitely make sure that and it's not going to be it's not going to be something that it's going to be, if you're not used to doing it, you're not going to be able to, in a sense, flip that switch and say, yeah, I'm going to start having these difficult conversations. But you got to start somewhere, like you said, Henry. You got to start somewhere, and when you do, it's just like everything, man. Once you take that first step, then that next one's going to be easier, and the next one's going to be even easier than that. and then next thing you know, you're stepping in a new way, and it's gonna feel good. Like, oh, okay, I like this. You know, this respect is real nice. I like this. You know, because it's a different type of respect. You know, people who will walk over you and do things to you in a cold type of way, and you haven't said anything about it. A lot of times they know what they're doing. A lot of times they know what they're doing. But because you haven't said nothing, they're just gonna keep on doing it and keep on doing it. But once you do say something, speak on it, that's where the combativeness comes, because they don't want to stop. It's like, damn, God,
It's like, how dare you? How
yeah,
dare you stop making me treat you a certain way that you
right,
don't like?
right, exactly, exactly. So now they gotta change up how they treat you. It's gonna be difficult for them. So yeah.
So let me ask y'all this then. Out of all of that, just from your experience, Henry, yours, Ty, if you was to talk to, I don't know, your 18-year-old self, your 30-year-old self, your 7-year-old self, like, what would be a approachable way, or what would be a good tactic to use to be, I guess, more vulnerable, but also, like we've been saying, like just knowing how to approach the situation. How can we be better at that? What's some advice that y'all would be able to give?
Uh, that's a difficult one.
Yeah.
But my 18-year-old self, my younger self, I was a little more reserved. I didn't blindly just fly off in the confrontation. I was of the mindset of I'm just trying to keep the peace and happy go lucky, whatever. And it was kind of like a midlife thing where I just kind of developed this whatever attitude, and then I kind of had to dial myself back as I've gotten older, because as I'm older now, I realize every situation ain't warranted that. It's again, it's not conducive for a lengthy employment history.
Right.
But I would tell my younger self is to really learn the art of communication. Because again, you could tell me I'm the dumbest thing to ever hit the earth, but how you tell me is going to decide how I react to it. At 18 years old, that young of age, that wasn't even anything I was thinking of. 18 years old, you only have but a few things in life that drive you: food, sleep, and party, whatever. But as far as building family, building relationships, maturing along not only within age, but in your thought process. It's going to take a little bit, so you got to really kind of sit and think about where you want your life to end up. And all that's going to ball back to communication. So 18-year-old self, you got to learn how to be able to communicate with any and everybody, any and every situation. Once you can master yourself and convey your thoughts, your feelings, everything else is pretty much pie. Because again, as this whole conversation has been, you teach people how to deal with you. If you can't master your own emotions and your own thoughts and convey those out to express them to other people so that they understand you and what drives you, what deters you, what breaks relationships as far as you're concerned, then how you expect them to treat you as such? The world's gonna treat you however they're gonna treat you, because you're willing to take it. You showing me that you're gonna take it. So that would be the biggest piece of advice I would give myself. Learn to be able to, effective communicator.
That's real.
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar what I was going to say. It's a matter of, like, don't be afraid to speak on your own behalf. Don't diminish yourself, because that's what a lot of times it comes down to, is that we don't feel like we're in a sense, I don't want to say good enough to speak on things, but we in a sense diminish ourselves, and in the favor of other people. You know, we don't want to come off too brash, or we don't want to come off, a certain way or whatever. But don't be afraid to speak on things that bother you. Because like I said, we all have kind of, this is the resounding fact is you teach people how to treat you. So make sure that you show them how you want to be treated. Like it's part of the golden rule. You know what I mean? You treat people how you want to be treated. But a lot of times, like I said, we forget that. We will dim our own light because we feel like we don't want to come off a certain way. But like you said, Henry, as well, just make sure that you understand the art of communication. Make sure you, in a sense, say it right. Even if you don't, in a sense, say it right, you'll learn that over time. But the important part is getting it out, getting it off your chest. Because that's where it's like, so, I think Kanye West said it. He said something to the effect of, I forgot exactly how he said it, but it was like when you're a little kid and you get up on a coffee table, and then your mom tells you to get down off that coffee table, and then now progressively over time, the world becomes that coffee table, and you continue to dim your light and become less and less and less and less, or I mean, in a sense, more and more and more. You're dimming yourself because, like I said, you've been kind of forced to not be who you are, be your free self in a sense. But in this realm of, as far as what we're talking about with asserting yourself and making sure that you have those difficult conversations, even if you don't say it right the first time, you'll develop that ability, but you gotta first get it out. So once you do, the first time it's like, okay, boom, I know that might not have came off the right way. If I'm in a situation like that again, I'll approach it this way, and then you'll apply that, and then if it does, if what, that worked, but let me see, this could work better. You know what I mean? So it's like we self teach when we're going through things. We self teach as we're doing things. Like our brain recognizes certain things. It's like if you were in a fight, you will you'll swing or something like that, and then like you might have missed that punch, but then the next after that fight's over, like, oh, okay, I know what I need to do this time. I need to step into it this time. I need to, I need to hit come from this way, as opposed to just upper body. I gotta make sure I got a good footing. It's the same way. So like I said, your brain will remember what you need to do. Like it'll tell you what you need to do right better for the next time. Talking to a girl, going to on a job interview, all those types of things. Your brain will constantly learn. Like you'll realize, oh man, I messed up. In that time, and you're like, oh, next time I see a chick, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna hit her with this line. Next time I'm on a job interview, I'm gonna say this, because they didn't respond to what I said this time. But if I say this, they're gonna respond. Because like, so you're constantly learning better ways to go about things. So like I said, just get it out. Like even if you don't say it right the first time, just get it out, get it off your chest. And then as you continue to go along, like I said, that's going to help you make sure that you don't let just anybody say or do anything to you. You're gonna get it off you. You're gonna, hey man, come in real quick. Like, can we let me holler at you real quick. Yeah, man, I wasn't really feeling that how you did that. I felt like you was kind of throwing a shot at me, bro. Like, what was up with that? Oh no, man, I wasn't, I wasn't trying to be like that. Okay, well, cool. I'm just saying, I just had to bring it to you because I just felt like, you just kind of trying to be dirty or whatever. But and so like I say, it's just you'll get better and better every time. Just get it off your chest, man, and then learn as you go.
Yeah. Man, y'all both dropping some nuggets there, man. And I don't know, man. As I'm listening, I kind of think of my inner self directly. I think of myself as of right now, and I'm looking at my 7-year-old self, 18-year-old self, 21, all these stages. The only thing I really can think of is I think about self. And when I say that, I mean love on yourself, black man. Love on yourself more, black man, as you are alone. Find what Ty likes, find what Henry likes, find what Jesse likes, Corey, find out what you likes, find out what you love. And when you be able to answer those questions about what you like and what you love and what you don't like, you now able to convey that message to whomever. And you are now able to be present in that energy that you now want to give and receive. So, in so many words, it's like finding that self-esteem, because self, again, is what I look like to self. What do Corey say to self? What affirmations am I giving myself? How do I look at myself? How do I love my body? Because again, I can't tell nobody how to handle me if I don't know how I like to be handled. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in no other way other than like mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. So if I'm telling this young man now, because again, to prevent him to go through some of the transgressions that were like, yeah, you could have avoided that one, bro. Those are the ones I'm referring to. Because again, you gotta, like you just said, you gotta go through it so you can grow through it. That's just the life. You got to. However, while in that situations, job, girl, your brother, whomever, make sure you understand what self loves, what Corey loves, what, like I said, what Ty loves. So when you now want to convey these messages back to somebody else, you have your own self-esteem. You now love yourself in full, good and bad. So now it's like when somebody say something else, okay, well, I already acknowledge that about myself, that I know this is an issue. That doesn't make it right for you to approach me in that way. Oh, I know that I was wrong for doing this because I know I didn't even like it when I did it to you. So again, love on yourself, black man. Find that self-worth, because we all know your network is your net worth. So what's the difference between your self-worth to those who you giving yourself to? That's it.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Yes, sir. Another powerful conversation, man. Another heater. Feel like this is a good one for. It's just like just with this last segment, just with us talking about our younger selves. I think it's important for like I said, those that younger generation, as you're coming of age, 18, 25, 30s, so forth and so on, that you understand this, because as you get more and more into this world, more and more, older and yeah, as you get older and older, you want to make sure that you have that foundation of, like Corey just said, of self-worth, of self-love, so you can make sure that people are treating you accordingly. And that's just 100%. So don't be afraid to have those difficult conversations, no matter what happens on either side of it. If it ends up being good, or if it ends up, so to speak, bad. It's like in the book, The Power of Now. That's what he talks about. There is no good or bad. It just is. It's not about. It's just a part of this of what's going on. So if it ends up on the way that you didn't want it to end, then that's just what it is. If it ends up the way that you did want it to end, then that's just what it is as well. But that's just all a part of life. Like I said, there is no good or bad. There just is. So it's all about how your perspective of it. You can't have the sweet. I mean, the sweet isn't as sweet without the sour. The good isn't as good without the bad.
The sun without the
Yeah,
without the rain.
yeah, exactly. If that's why I appreciate living up here in Washington. You know, one of the reasons why I appreciate living up here is because we don't get the sun as much as you know, a lot of other places do. So when we get it, it's like, yo, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like we don't get it like they get it down in Vegas or down in California or whatever. You know what I mean? But when we do get it, you know, it might be a good couple, maybe 2.5, 3 months out the year. I mean, it's, you know, it's not bad right now, but when you get it, you just appreciate it. You know, if you had it good all the time, you wouldn't appreciate it like, you know what I mean, like you should. You know, if you went through good times, if all you had were good times, you wouldn't appreciate it as much. If all you had were bad times, it wouldn't be as quote unquote bad because it's like, oh, this is all I know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know anything else. But when you have a mixture of both, it's like, you know, good customers are good, but they, you know, the bad customers make the good customers that much better. It's like, you know what? I wouldn't appreciate, you know, I don't like you. I don't like you right now, but you make me appreciate my good customers. You know what I'm saying? So this is like that sometimes. You know, like I said, you gotta have a mixture of both. Otherwise, you'll you know, in a sense, become complacent and won't appreciate what you got. So, but yeah, to end it all, man, like I said, just have those difficult conversations. Understand that no matter what happens, it was meant to be. So, yes, sir. On that
Nah,
note, you guys got anything before we peace out?
nah, man. I think I'm just entering this loving on yourself era, man. I guess these new age people is calling it the soft era, but I just say I'm a masculine man operating in both masculine and I guess you can say the feminine side of me. Like
It's in all of us.
just they're slower to reaction, man. And I just think, I just want to give that to those who listen. So whoever you are, wherever y'all are, love on yourself because you are worthy of love. That's it.
Sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir, for sure. Well, yeah. Starting out from another great episode, man. We appreciate everybody, you know, continued support. Tap in with us, the Bro Foundation, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Spotify, on Patreon. We here, you know. So we appreciate the continued support. We're gonna continue to scale up. Like Jesse said last week, we got some good episodes, some more good episodes. I mean, we keep coming with the good topics, you know what I mean? But we got a few good ones and a few other things besides just doing the actual show. We got a few things that we have in store that is going to really kind of be community involved. So we'll say that it's just really community involved. So we appreciate y'all. Keep rocking with us. Keep supporting the Bro Foundation, where we have profound conversations with brothers across the nation. So until next time, mindset.
Complex.
In rare.
Peace,
Peace.
y'all.